Martin Necas, by the way, you did mention. Winnipeg Jets, Chicago Blackhawks, Montreal Canadiens, Calgary Flames, and Boston Bruins. See, told you Boston.
Go away.
Are among the teams. Well, Boston does what Vegas does. They're always in on the guy.
It's true.
Go get the guy.
It's true.
Boston, it's never, it's too hard, or how would we make that work? It's your freaking job. Go make it happen.
And they do it.
Winnipeg, Chicago, Montreal, Calgary, and Boston for Martin Necas.
You know what Boston never does? Hey, should we just run it back?
No.
Hey, should we just...
Well, they don't have to ask that question because they always go deep. Well, last couple of years, maybe not so much.
I was listening to the Overdrive segment about Marner yesterday, and I'm like, I'm taking crazy pills. I can't believe they're...
Well,
like,
okay, but you're talking about Darren Dreger saying, well, he doesn't have to. And I think we know the connection there. And it's not like, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but we know the connection there. And we know that that's posturing by the Marner camp.
God bless Jeff O'Neill. God bless him.
Well, what did he
being
say?
Like, well, they were like, what is all this about? We have to make changes. And then they're going to offer him a contract extension? What are you talking about? And Dreger's like, well, then would you let him play the year and walk for nothing? And Jeff, without missing a beat, goes, yes.
Yeah.
And he's right.
So
he's right.
So where do you think Martin Necas makes the most sense? Like, I'm interested to see the Chicago Blackhawks in on this because they should be in the business of acquiring good young players, especially wingers who can score around Connor Bedard. Where do you like him the best?
Boston is a pretty good fit because even though they play really solid hockey together, there's definitely room to grow on paper. He'd fit a really good window for them because, like, he's not a rookie, he's not a sophomore either, but he's also not old. Like, he would help them get better now and for the future. I think a lot of players should be in on this guy. Like, you know, the Zacha Coyle thing sort of got old for the Bruins a little bit, and adding Necas to that really, really adds some punch to the lineup. So yeah, I like that for Boston, which is why I hope it doesn't happen.
Okay. All right. Jesse, what do you think?
I like the Montreal Canadiens as a landing spot. I'm waiting for them to keep doing these kind of deals and take on scoring talent so they can get better a little quicker. And I feel like 25-year-old player who wants to play on the power play a whole bunch, and there's ice time available in Montreal. They need more goal scoring. They need more talent. I think there's a deal to be made, especially with their salary cap situation where they're not up against it. They can give this RFA a decent deal, and maybe it's shorter term, so you see how he plays out, and with the extra ice time that he'll get in Montreal. And I think it'd be a good fit.
Like, you're right. And like, I'm talking about Boston. You're talking about Montreal. These are not the same team at all. Isn't this player just good? Yeah. And aren't the Hurricanes just good? Why aren't they keeping this player?
I think he doesn't want to be there.
Why?
He doesn't like his role on the team.
That's, I mean, kind of nuts.
And that's why I mentioned the power play
nuts?
stuff, because he wants more. He wants more time on the ice. He wants more ability, put more areas to score goals, to put up points. You know, he's not happy with how he's being deployed.
I don't hate that. I like that in a player. I want a guy who's like, yo, screw this, I'm better.
This is, I mean, one of the great things about pro sports is whenever these discussions come up, we're like, oh, what about reasonable thing? And we're not talking about reasonable people. We're talking about the most competitive 1% of human beings on the planet.
Yeah, and you know what? Wherever he goes, especially teams like the Blackhawks and the Montreal Canadiens, if he ends up in those, he'll get his power play time. We'll know.
Yeah, but like, if he's as competitive as he's being sold as, like, isn't it going to kill you to lose friggin' 50 games?
Well, I think if you look at what happened in Carolina, like 2 years ago or 2 seasons ago now, 22, 23, 71 points last year, 53. So a bit of a drop, bit of a change in usage, bit of a deeper lineup. And at a certain point, you're like, listen, I'm the guy. And if you don't believe I'm the guy, I'm going to go somewhere else and show you that I'm the guy.
I want to make some money.
Yeah. Forget about the winning and losing. You'll figure that out when you get there, because if you're the guy, you believe you'll win, they'll start winning because you're there.
He doesn't go there and be like, this team sucks and we're going to lose. I think he thinks that they're going to win.
Yeah.
I think this is the summer players start going, you know what? I'm going to hitch my wagon to this Connor Bedard. You know?
Yeah.
And other than guys like Nick Foligno, who are like openly talking about how he's going to retire soon on the bench. You know, you got to get some guys to play with this kid going forward.
Nikolaj Ehlers' name has come up in trade talks. The Winnipeg Jets, he has had some injuries the last few years, but this year played a full 82. Was drafted one spot after William Nylander, and is a 61-point player who, frankly, if you were paying attention to the Jets, things didn't go well with him and Rick Bowness. And
or Paul Maurice.
Or Paul Maurice. And Paul Maurice a little better, I think.
Yeah.
For $6 million for 1 year, this is a guy that puts up a lot of points. This is a good player that can slot in on a lot of teams second. And if you're a really good team, it's a second line. If you're a good team, he's probably a first liner. You don't like him?
Me?
Are you saying you don't like him?
No, I'm saying I like him. The reason
I like him.
Dismissive is
his ice time, by the way, under Bowness went from 18 minutes a night under Paul Maurice to 15:38 and 15:52. That's why.
Like Nikolaj Ehlers being in trade rumors is as close to a free space on the bingo card as you can get for like a non-leaf. Like it's every year it's play him more. No, I won't. K will trade him. Then they didn't. Puts up points. Never plays. Like this is very much Winnipeg's MO. Is guys are in rumors forever, then nothing happens usually.
Unless their tracksuit gets thrown in the shower.
Yes, then you're traded immediately. But then it's like Hellebuck, not as much, but like Scheifele.
Yep.
Wheeler, Laine. I remember doing a segment where I was like, shut up and make a decision about this player. Not for him, not for you, for your fans. Like, you need a reason to get excited about your team. I want to know if I can buy this player's jersey. Is there a point? And at every moment of every year, it's like, we don't know if he's staying or going. And I feel like it's been like that for Nikolaj Ehlers for like all of post-COVID has been it, like, I think this predates it. Honestly, it's just there's a brain fog there, and I have no idea if it predates it. I'm pretty sure it did, but I can't remember because of the 2020 syndrome or whatever you call it. But like, I just every year with Nikolaj Ehlers, it's one of those. Yeah, it'd be interesting, but I'll believe it when I see it.
I think
we talk about this every year.
The Winnipeg Jets are due for a move with Ehlers, just for the change for the sake of change situation, because they've been running the core with Hellebuck, Ehlers, Scheifele, and if you want to throw in Morrissey and Blake Wheeler and all those years.
Isn't this familiar as hell?
Yeah, and they moved off of Wheeler eventually, and
he walked.
He left, and they parted ways, and then you have your new captain now in Lowry, and you're moving off of what you had, and you've picked the guys you want to stick with. You've given Scheifele a long-term deal. You've given Hellebuck the long-term deal. Connor's going to be there forever. You're going to keep him around. And I feel like Ehlers is just kind of the last piece that you probably don't want to get married to, and you want to just divorce it now and move it out of the way. I feel like that's the parting of ways, and then they can move forward because it's stale. It's a little stale, that relationship.
The irony is like a Laine Ehlers swap could make some sense. I just don't know if he wants to go back to Winnipeg.
That doesn't make sense at all.
No, but like just in terms of like role and money.
If his name wasn't Patrick Laine and he didn't play there before, yes.
Yeah. But because it's him.
Yeah.
No.
I just feel like Ehlers and Winnipeg's a little stale at this point, especially with how they lost in that first round.
Yeah.
You guys remember that series?
Yeah.
Not pretty.
Well,
not good.
Same with Toronto. There needs to be some sort of consequence for losing. And when you lose that way with a bunch of guys who have been here forever, this is new guys.
I was going to say, I would like Ehlers in Toronto.
Yeah.
I would like a guy like that.
Ehlers is a good player.
Soft on the left. Yeah. I mean, let me bring this team up again. Really strong offensive player, underappreciated in the market he's in. Nikolaj Ehlers, welcome to Carolina. You sound like a hurricane already.
Everybody's going to Carolina now.
He sounds like a hurricane though. Like I'm not using them as my cop-out team. It's all the players we're talking about.
He's not Finnish. He's Danish.
I know.
So,
but like they're close.
They are close. They used to be one.
Hockey guys.
Yeah.
If you squint, it's the same country. It's the same place.